to record some. And what I want to do today is first I'm going to start out with, so like if you guys are in phase 3, and I think everybody on this call is really in the 3rd phase of the program or beyond, you should be at least at minimum have MyFitnessPal set up and be tracking your meal plan. So you should have gone through Macro University. You should have watched the video. You should have it set up. And you should be entering in your meal plan at this point. Now, many of you should also start to be progressing to a point where you can kind of play with your meal plans as well. But right now, that's where you should be. So before I go into anything, I'm going to ask if you guys have specific questions pertaining to MyFitnessPal and getting it set up. Anything outright that you struggle with, besides just telling me all of it. Tell me this. You can silently raise your hand. If I can see your face, you can raise your hand with your reactions. If I can't, who currently uses MyFitnessPal and is putting their meal plans in it now? Great. Janet, I think you are. Yeah, Tammy raised her hand. Janet, do you? I think she does. Tammy raised her hand. All right. All right. And Lieutenant, you should be. So what we're going to do, and Janet, you should be as well. I think that you kind of are. I don't see, you might just not be able to get your reaction up. I could have swore that you were. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you a few things of what I do. And some ways of making it easy. Now, I'm not going to go over every single thing because in your onboarding under your Ruby sources on demand, you can watch the videos to get set up. I'm going to call out a few things that I see happening when I'm looking at the check-ins. I'm also going to share with you some ideas on how to make things easier. A lot of these things are in the video, but I'm going to show you kind of like some shortcuts on how I do it. Who knows, Jen might share her screen as well and also go over some of her. I'm going to actually make sure everybody has her ideas as well. So that being said, I'm going to share my screen. God knows what's on there right now. Oh, it's only Zoom. Sweet. All right. Oh, not my TV. Hold on. All right. Somebody come off of mute because I cannot see anybody at this point in time. And tell me if you can see my screen.
I can.
Sweet.
Yep.
All right. So this is MyFitnessPal. This is what mine looks like. Now, don't mind anything that I have in here. Everything is pretty much set up here for you guys just to see. So this is what my meal tracking looks like. Now I have all my meals set up as meal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This makes my life simpler. All right. And you can do that. And I know that Jen shows you guys that by going to your goals, or you can do that by going into your profile. And I believe it is under where you can name your meals. All right. So, and that is on the videos. I'll go through that. But what I want to go through right now is your goals. So if you are setting up carb cycling, you have a couple of different ways to do it. There is an entire video on this. Now, this stuff in the beginning, like starting weight, current weight, goal weight, like this is freaking from years ago. This, you guys don't have to worry about. We do all of that for you. But what you want to do is make sure that you are setting your nutrition goals, all right? So when you set your nutrition goals, you have a default and you also have the ability to add daily custom goals. So if you're a carb cycle, you can set a daily default goal for, say, your high carb day, your low carb day, and then go in and set a daily goal and choose the days that you are cycling on low carb days. All right. So I've just got some examples in here of different days, right? So also, what I've noticed is some of you guys have asked this question. This just came up last night. Somebody mentioned this. You want to make sure at the bottom that you see exercise calories, you want to make sure that that's turned off. If that's turned on, it's going to adjust your macros throughout the day based on your exercise, which we already do. All that's going to do is confuse you, because at the end of the day, you're going to be like, WTF, I swear to God, I was on track with all my macros. How is it I'm over, under, whatever? So just make sure that this is turned off, okay? Double check it. Sometimes it resets itself. All right, so when you're logging food, now Jen shows you guys how to do this. So today, what I do is I have all of my meals entered in. So let's go back to yesterday. I deleted all my meals. So I could show you this. So I have my meals in here based on what I do. So I can just come in, I can add my meals. I have my foods in here, but I also have my meals created in here as well. This is a trick that I learned from Jen. So I can come in here and add in meal 1, low day, do meal 2, whatever that might be. I have them all named different things in here, and I can just come in and add meals based on three on whatever it is, okay? I can also add food. So I can just come in here and add in, I've got my food into, if I change things up, I can do, but I will tell you guys, the easiest thing to do is to have your meals in there. And when you're creating your meal plan, really all that I do is I have all my food in here. So go back to, say, meal 4, and I'm going to add food in. Let's say I eat tilapia. Oh, let's see. I'm going to say I have some rice because I'm just boring. All right. So I add some jasmine rice. I had some asparagus. Yeah, asparagus. Add that in. All right. So now let's just say I created this. I can actually come in here and you can make this a meal as you're adding it in. So all I did right here, guys, if you didn't see what I did, is I hit these 3 dots, right? So this is how I add in my meal plans as I'm going along. So I can save this as a meal. Now, I keep it as public. I can name my meal. Meal, I don't remember what it was, for high carb, higher carb. I'm really going to mess up my system in here for you guys. Done. Save. Now I have created a meal. So now that's going to live in here. So say I wanted to add this meal 4. Now I don't ever have to look for it again because I don't think that is it. Meal 5. But I can add it in because it's now been saved. Make sense? So that is why we teach you to do this. And it's so, like, a lot of you guys struggle with this. You're like, oh, it's hard. Like, it should take you seconds to enter in your meal plan. So if I were you, what I would do at the beginning of every week is I would go, okay, let's start with the beginning of a new meal plan. When I had the beginning of a new meal plan, I would go in on a Sunday and I would enter in my high carb day. So let's just say I have a high carb day that runs on, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, whatever. Wednesday's the first high carb day. Monday is my first low carb day. I would go in on a Monday and I would enter in my low carb day just as I showed you by the meal. I'd enter in all the foods and then I would give each meal a name and I would save it. Then I'd go to Wednesday and I would enter in my high carb day. I would give each meal a name and save it. So now that it is in my, then what I would do is I would come in here, and this is where you guys can set yourself up. I would click edit. I would click select all. Then I would come down here and I would click copy. And now I'm going to save it to all of my low carb days. So say Monday's my low carb day. So now I'm going to save all these meals for all of my low carb days, whatever that might be. Okay, so say I've got a low carb day on, why is it doing that? Copy of all, and I'm going to save it to my low carb day, which is what, today, tomorrow, and I've already had today in. I'm also going to edit. You can select all. I don't know why it didn't let me select all this time. Probably because I'm here trying to show you guys something, but I just went through and did it. You click copy and I can just keep pasting them to whatever day. So I can paste them to every single low carb day I have. Then I can go to my high carb day that I created on Wednesday and I can do the same thing. Click edit. Click select all. Why it's not giving me select all is beyond me right now. But meanwhile, I can still do the same thing. And then I just click copy and I paste it to all my higher carb days. Now my entire week has been entered in. Okay. Now another secret that you guys can do as well. So now your whole week is in. And the reason why I tell you to do this is as you guys progress through the program and you start, making swaps and changes, it becomes very easy to come in and go, fuck, I don't have turkey today. Great. I'm going to have chicken instead. And you go in and you look for the chicken and you add it in, right? Now, all you have to do is go back, go to the ground turkey. The ground turkey, you have 4 ounces of it and it's 28 grams of protein. The chicken is approximately 26 grams of protein. So bada bing, bada boom. Delete the turkey, you're close enough. All right, now you have swapped it out. Let's say you're going to have shrimp instead. Now you go in, you look for your shrimp. 4 ounces of shrimp, add that in. Look at my kinds of things happening here. So we're swapping shrimp for chicken. The chicken, 4 ounces, 26 grams of protein. 4 ounces of shrimp is only 15 grams of protein. Damn. So now I got to adjust this puppy until I get to about, now, is this making sense, guys, on why sometimes you can't just swap food for food? So to get even close, I'm looking at damn near 6.5 ounces of protein just to get myself close to where I want to be. So now I've evened out the shrimp. Now I can delete the chicken. Make sense? I'm not going to have the vegetables, as long as they're green vegetables, don't matter as much, but your proteins and carbs, those are huge. The other thing that I will do sometimes, so sometimes my meal plans are very, very similar. So what I will do sometimes after I enter in my low carb day, let's say today, I will also do this. I'll hit edit, select all. I'm going to copy to tomorrow. No, I'm going to copy to Thursday and say Thursday is a high carb day. So now I see that I'm low on carbs, right? I'm good on everything else, but I'm low on carbs because my carbs are different for that day. I can just come in here now and add in my carbs. And if I was out and about, maybe playing with my meal plan, now I can just come in here. Add sweet potatoes. Oh, I'm getting somewhere here. I'm going to adjust them. Huh. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm spot on. You see how easy that was, guys? That's all I did. So overcomplicating things, but like, and this is me. This is where we want to get you to. So like right now, you guys are currently just entering in your meal plans. But if you've got all these meals in here, and you get to phase 5 of this program where you have hit your nutrition goals, you really have a good understanding of what you're eating. We're always going to give you meal plans and sample meal plans, but where you see people like Jen and some of the OGs that have been in here for a while is they've gotten to a point where they've got several meals saved in here that they can choose from. You'll be able to look at your macros, adjust your macros according to however we've done it in here. Like I showed you in the beginning, enter in your carbs and then even do things like I just did. Like you'll look at your nutrients and go, fuck, I got 50 carbs that I got to make up. And then based on your database, be able to make the adjustments that you need to get it to look like this. Some of you are going, well, Jules, you're over in protein and calories. Well, you know what? I'm over in protein, which is what kicked my calories up to 72. And I don't really care about that because to eat a little bit more protein isn't going to kill me. And if the extra calories that I've got are coming from protein, again, not a big deal. I'm a little more concerned if those extra calories are coming from fats that I don't need. But it is super simple. So these are some of the reasons why we want you to start to learn to track your macros. Because this is going to help you progress through your journey. You're always going to have to track, guys, because if you're not tracking, you're guessing. And as you continue on this journey, whether you're doing it more and you're starting to get to that flexible part of your nutrition, you want to have, one, like I said, you're going to have your own database saved in here. 2, you're going to be able to become a lot wiser as you're moving forward with your macros. So most of you guys aren't like to a place where you have to create your own nutrition. Many of you are not on sample meal plans right now. But if you start right now tracking your meals, it's going to be easier for you to swap out foods when you're like, hey, I'm sick of eggs. I'm sick of egg whites. I want to have something different. I don't want to eat shrimp today. I want to eat chicken. I'd like to have white potatoes versus sweet potatoes. Fuck, I'm out of rice, but I have some rice cakes. Like this is what's going to give you the ability to make those changes. And the fact that we watch your MyFitnessPal all the time, we'll be able to guide you and see the changes that you're making. Also, if you decide to go out to dinner and have a slice of pizza and you wipe that whole thing out and you put that pizza in, you're going to see the changes that it's made in it. Like you're going to see where those carbs are coming in, where, how many extra calories you're getting in from what. So start right now if you're not. But what I see happening a lot is you guys aren't tracking regularly. So you're not doing your full weeks. You're just making it harder on yourself by not entering your full weekend. Like I do that every Sunday. Like it's so easy. And once you have your existing meal plan, like for the next 4 weeks, you're just copying and pasting every week. Like you just on a Sunday, you just copy and paste to the days that you have. But now you're set up for success because if you are out to eat, if you are at work, if you're someplace and you have to swap out food, you don't have to remember because it's right there on your phone. You let go of the rice, you add in the rice cake, whatever it is, you can swap it out on the go and you don't have to remember, and you can actually match the macros exactly. Does that make sense?
Okay, I have a question about going out to eat.
Yes.
I'm going out to dinner tonight, and I'm already planning to get the shrimp fajitas because I love this place, and it's just like veggies and shrimp. I mean, I'm sure they cook it in something, but when I just went right now. Sorry, lawnmower. I just went right now into my fitness pal, and when I type in shrimp fajitas, one of them is 1,300 calories and one of them is 300. I mean, do you recommend? Because I don't know how the restaurant does it, like just putting in each ingredient that I think is in there.
I would do that. Yeah. Try to do that. So first of all, like when you go to the restaurant, I'm sure they put stuff in there. You have your shrimp fajitas. You can ask, or, you
Like
can
oil
ask,
and
yeah, you can just ask them like not to cook it with a bunch of shit. And then you're a little bit more sure. I would lean on the side of expecting a little extra fats in there, but sometimes, yeah, you can build it yourself. You can look to see if the restaurant actually has it in there. Sometimes too, I don't know if you guys know this, you can take a picture of the food with the scanner and see if it even calculates it better for you. So you can scan your food, but you can also use your camera and like put a picture of it. I've used that feature before. Sometimes it'll look at your food and you have to adjust the like how many ounces in that you have. But yeah, I mean, that is tough when you go out to eat, Laura. You have to kind of be able to eyeball ounces unless you've got like a portable scale with you. So you're not gonna have. So like, yeah, just eyeballing like the ounces. Like by now you have a pretty good idea of what,
yeah.
4 ounces looks like. Something
I
like
feel
that.
okay about the ounces and the amounts of the veggies and stuff. I was thinking more like it's crazy that you can look in my fitness pal and two of the same meal can be 1,300 calories or 300 calories.
Yeah.
I think that's where I
Yeah.
sometimes go in and I'm like, I don't know which one of these to pick.
So that's a good question. So when you go into My Fitness Pal, it's tough for restaurants, but with the foods that you cook for yourself, when you're going in there, you always want to look for verified. So I'm not sharing my screen anymore, but when you go to add a food in, let's see, if I go to add a food in and I want to add a food, I can see the green check marks by the food. When you go to search a food, say I'm going to search, I don't know, rice. I did get, because I've had so many examples of rice, it's pulling up like my history, but if I didn't have a history, what I can do is I can check verified only. So I can check this box, and say I want verified only. So then
Okay.
it's going to show you only the verified. Now, the reason why you want to look for verified only is, as you just discovered and you just said, everybody and their sister can enter rice into My Fitness Pal, and the fuck knows if they entered it incorrectly. That's why you've got all these different amounts. So if you look for the verified ones, that means My Fitness Pal has verified that amount and those proportions and the macronutrients attached to it is correct. The other thing you can do is you can also type in USDA after it. So you can put chicken USDA and it will pull up USDA nutrition background on it. So those are the two ways that you want to look up food. So if you look it up and you don't find a verified one, you can, you're like, shit, there aren't any verified ones in here. You can type USDA after it. The
Okay.
other thing, this isn't applicable to restaurants, Laura, but it's applicable to entering things in. Whenever you have the ability to scan a barcode on food, do that. Because it's going to give you the exact one, and it's going to save in your database for future use. So like if you have rice cakes, scan like, don't even try to type, just scan it. And it's going to pull up the rice cakes and it's going to enter it in. It'll either show you the already verified version of it in there, or it'll just enter in a new one.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
And then ask lots of questions at the restaurant. You know, people, they'll think you're a pain in the ass, but like, you're knowledgeable then. Good question. Any other questions about that? So I know a lot of you guys struggle with this. So you're not asking questions, but we are going to, this is a recorded version. I do want to see all of you guys recording in there. That's why we want to do this. It is, like I said, you can see why it's important for you guys to learn, because for this to be a lifestyle and something that you can have that is sustainable, learning to do this is super important. I'm going to turn it over to Jen for a second. She does a lot of tracking, see if she has anything she wants to add.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the same thing, like just make sure it's hard when you go out to eat because again, like you don't know exactly, but it's still, you just want to enter it in. Like for me, not now, but in the past, I would just go and I would kind of like itemize it too. And then sometimes I would just ask them like not to cook things in oil or anything like that. I would just say I have dietary needs and make sure that I don't, have it overcooked in oils. But that's the best way, is to just make sure you look for those check marks, that it's verified, and just enter it in individually, and you're not going to get an exact number, but you'll get close to it. And at least that way it's helping you to obviously make this a lifestyle, because that's what we want, right? We want to be able to know, um, portion size and what we're eating, and what the macros are exactly. So that way we can like give and take from other areas, and kind of, it's a learning curve, and it's, just playing around with it. So like I would just go in and enter in things and see how I could just play around with certain things and take fats from here in order to have it here, and, carbs from here in order to have, a certain meal here. And then you kind of see which swaps are equal exchanges, and then it just makes it easier, when you go out with people, or you go on vacations and stuff like that. Then you already know, oh, instead of having one whole egg, I can have 2 pieces of turkey bacon, and it's going to have the same macros. So
And yeah, and that's like Jen is saying, like that's the idea and why we want you to go through the phases. And a lot of you guys, like some of you guys like play with us on it, and some of you fight us. But the reason why we want you to go through the phases is we specifically stack these habits on you. So like phase 1, or the first part of this journey, when you start to log it, the reason why we just have you simply log your meal plan, and that is it. Don't worry about changing anything. So like Janet, that's where you are. The reason why we want you to do that is you just get in the habit. You get really Lieutenant, same with you. Like you just get really, really good at entering that meal plan in. Then once you're really good at it and you start to say you want to swap things out, you now can then like learn how to swap things out, which we have a video in there on how to do it. And then like Laura, Sandy, you guys are 2 places like Jen is talking about where we really do trust you, as long as you've been consistently doing this, to be able to go into MyFitnessPal and start. Well, Sandy, I've got you on a pretty strict nutrition plan right now, but you know what I mean. So you can start to go in and make these, these swaps. Like, Laura is asking about, and like Jen talked about, and then you can start to get creative and play. And that's where we want you to do, because now when you're in that phase 3, like that's when you're in phase 3, we want you to start learning and exploring. This is where we start to solidify, oh, what do I want to say? We start to solidify that the confidence. I'm not really thinking of what I want to say here, but really teaching you that art where you start to learn this more as a lifestyle. Even if you're still in the fat loss phase of your journey, you know, and you haven't reached your goal, it's still important to start like learning and playing with it, because that's what's going to give you the flexibility. And when you get to the end of the program where you have reached your goal, and you're in more of a build or a maintenance phase, now you have such a good understanding that when you are out and about doing things, and again, I'm going to use Laura as an example, like she's there now you have the ability to, you know, oh, she's gone now. She has the ability to like make these changes and adjustments like she was asking. So if you get nothing from this, guys, this is why we really want you to follow the system. It's not that we're trying to punish you. It's not that we're trying to make you do something. Like I hear, well, that's why I'm here. I want a meal plan to follow. You're going to have a meal plan to follow forever, but you need to learn to do these things, because even if you forever have a meal plan, you still want to have this knowledge. Even if you're on sample meal plans, to be able to do this is what's going to give you the flexibility when you go on a vacation, when you go out to eat. It's going to help you understand what you're actually putting in your body, because if you don't track it, you're guessing. And a lot of you guys guess, and then you go way off the rails and you don't understand why. Or for example, you nibble off your kids' plates. Put that shit into MyFitnessPal once and find out what your little nibbles are actually doing. Like, you guys like will say to us, I'm 100% on my meal plan. But the reality is, if we were to really ask you, are you 100% on your meal plans? You know, because here's the deal. We know if you say I'm 100%, Jules, I've been 100%, or Jen, on my nutrition plan, I'm 100% on my workout, but you have plateaued and you're still in a fat loss phase, I guarantee you, we're not going to argue with you, but we know you're not 100%. We know you're not. We're not going to argue. You have to, and you may not even realize it, that you are, because you start to think, well, it was just an almond. It was just this. It was just that. It wasn't really that big a deal. But if you start entering that, if you have your meal plans in, like I said, and I shared with you, and you put them in for a week and you have 5 extra almonds, and you add those 5 extra almonds into that meal, and you do it again, and you do it again, I guarantee you at the end of the day or the end of the week, after you creating that habit, you're gonna be like, oh shit, I had no idea that that's what was happening. So that's another reason why we want you to do that, because it's going to alert you to things that you might be doing. Well, it was just this. It was just a few bites here. It was just a few bites there. It makes a difference. We've had people plateau for months and months and months, and it was simply because they were eating off their kids' plates.
Well, and that's just it. Like, you know, once you put it in, also while you're learning, like once you put it in, if you don't quite understand it, you put it in, and that's why we're here. We're here to coach you and help you and teach you how to make those adjustments and make those changes. So it's just actually just like right there in front of your face. And you know, when you have it right there in front of your face and it's visible to you, that's where you're going to be able to learn. And it's okay to make mistakes. Fuck, I make mistakes all the fucking time.
Right?
Literally, that's the best way that you learn, is by making mistakes. So make fucking mistakes, put it in there. And as long as you track it, like I mean, that's 100% of, you know, the struggle right there, is just entering it in.
Mhm.
So the rest we can help you with. So
Yeah. If we
Yeah.
know what you're doing, we can help you with it, like Jen says, but if we're blind to it, we can't help. And yeah, you're going to make mistakes. That's how you learn. And here's the thing, guys, like the beautiful thing is there are not many programs out there that do what we do. And I can stand on this testimony 100%. You have one of 2 programs out there generally. You have the program that is going to give you a meal plan or a blueprint. It may not even be a custom meal plan, or it may be a custom meal plan. And they're just going to tell you what to eat, and they're never going to teach you anything about macros. And when that fucking thing is gone and you're out of the program, you're lost. Or you have programs which are really big right now that are going to give you macronutrients, but they're never going to teach you what a macro is. They're not going to teach you they're not going to give you any guidance at all. What I have done, or what, and the reason why I've done it is neither one of them are going to give you sustainable results at the end. They're not teaching you anything. Combine the two of them, you now have the best of both worlds. You have a structured nutrition plan for those of you that are fucking busy and have no desire to ever create your own nutrition plan. As long as you are with us, you will have some type of meal plan to follow. But you're also going to learn how to maintain and sustain this, even if you didn't have a meal plan. Like, you are going to have created a database in MyFitnessPal that you can start to become flexible with. You're going to understand, whether you believe it or not. Like, one day you're just going to be like, oh, I really kind of understand this. Like, the way that we habit stack you is so you start to understand what these macronutrients are, what are important, where do these carbs come in. You'll start to notice routines if you're like Janet in the beginning of this process, or like Lieutenant, and if you're taking the time to enter it in, the learning process, the way the brain works. We have kinesthetic, audio, and visual. Habit stacking, having you physically enter this in, is hitting you on two different learning methods, where you are just, whether you realize it or not, you are learning where, just by doing that, where macros are fitting. Like, one day you're going to be like, oh, you know what? I noticed that my macros really tend to lean off towards the end of the night. And it's either going to like spur you to ask the question why, or you're just going to figure it out. Like, you're gonna be like, oh, well, that kind of makes sense. And why do you think that is? Why do you think your carbohydrates like tend to lighten up? Why do you think we always keep you a little heavier with carbs in the beginning of the day versus the end of the night? Lieutenant, Janet, why do you guys think that we have you heavier on carbs in the beginning of the day versus towards the end of the night?
What do carbs give us?
It breaks down sugar, fat, and it's not good at night. It's only good during the day when you're burning it off. So I'm really conscious of watching what I eat at night.
Yep.
Because of the carbs. Yeah. So, yeah, because at night I'm not running, I'm not moving, I'm sleeping.
You're sleeping.
I'm trying to sleep. Yeah.
So, well, first of all, you shouldn't be eating any sugar if you're on your meal plan, but yes,
Right.
so correct. That is absolutely correct. So the reason why we keep you on carbohydrates, or all your carbohydrates are in your nutrition plan throughout the day, is just what Lieutenant said, because as we go into the evening, we don't require as much energy, whether that's a good carb or a sugary carb, even healthy. We don't need the energy that it's giving us. We're sleeping. So less energy is required. So we don't need as much. You can tap into the body fat a little bit if we need to. So, but during the day, from the time you get up through the time you work out, you need extra energy. So that's when you're going to burn up carbs. Carbs aren't bad. And you could totally eat carbs at night, but they're better and more useful for you throughout the beginning of the day. Carbs are not bad.
What about, sometimes I don't eat my nuts during the day and I eat them at night because I want the crunch before I floss and brush. Is that not good?
Well, I preference that you do use them in, eating according to your meal. But again, if you're entering into MyFitnessPal and you make those adjustments, like I just showed you, like on this, like how to do it, and you take the nuts out of meal 2 and you put them into the last meal, you're going to be able to see if you're still hitting your macronutrients by the end of the day, which is important. But if you're not entering shit in, you're not going to understand. So that's where I tell you again, like, Ideally, is that perfect? No, because we're giving you like, we want you to have those calories throughout the day too, to make sure that you're energized. But I mean, Jen used to do this too. She used to like move her foods around too. It's not the end of the day, but you also want to make sure you're tracking. So like if you've entered everything in for the entire week, Lieutenant, and now it's like right there in front of you, and that day you go, I'm not going to have my nuts today at lunch. I'm actually going to save them. I'm going to have them at meal 6, and you delete them out of meal 3 and you add them into meal 6. You now know, well, shit, I'm still on track. I moved them around, but I'm still on track.
Okay.
You know, makes sense. So that's the other
Yeah.
reason why you want to do it. Otherwise, you're guessing again.
Yeah.
Make sense though?
Actually, my stuff is in. It's just when I eat, it's going to put it in, like going to acknowledge it, going to enter it. It's in. My Wednesdays and Saturdays are my high days. That's in. The only thing I need to work better on is when my meal plan changes, going and tweaking it, because it doesn't really change that much. I still have eggs and egg with egg yolk and whatever, but there's some things I need to tweak. The turkey, the breast, like this week on the meal plan, I'm starting a new one. I'm not a beef eater, but I had to buy sirloin steak just so I can follow the meal plan. So I, have to go in and tweak that, which I haven't done, but I plan to do that today. But yeah, it's just putting it in. Like by the time I rush to eat, I don't think to put it in until later, and then I get busy doing something else. But I'm making a commitment to myself to do better
Good.
starting today.
And I want you to go back and watch this video because you were kind of busy and driving. That's why I showed you what I did in the beginning of this, because I've showed you how to copy. So you should never have to enter that's my point. You should never be entering your meals as you go. You want to do that on Sunday or whenever you get your meal plan. And then after you have your meal plan for the next 4 weeks, every Sunday, all you're doing is copying and pasting. The only time you have to make adjustments is when you get a new meal plan, but you copy and you paste for the entire week. Now it's done. Now your only responsibility is to open MyFitnessPal and go, yes, I ate that, or no, I did not eat that. I didn't have the nuts today and I moved them over here, or you know what, I ran out of chicken, so let me just swap that out like I showed you. That's why we want you to learn to copy and paste. Like that saves, I don't do things meal by meal. I would never remember to do things meal by meal. Ever, even off a meal plan. I put everything in. The only reason mine was blank today is I wiped it out so I could show you guys a few things. Other than that, mine is set for the entire day or the entire week. Like everything goes in on Sunday. Like my entire meal plan is in there. Therefore, if I have something happen, which quite often does, I'm human. I run out of fucking shrimp. I run out of chicken. Something happens. Like, shit, I got to make a fly. I can make that adjustment easily and still stay on my meal plan, just like I showed you guys. Like, I don't have any rice in the house. Oh, crap, but I do have rice cakes. Let me just make this adjustment. Make sense? So that's why I want you to do that. So go back to these recorded videos when I upload this, watch that beginning portion again. And of course, if you still have questions, hit Jen or I up. We can really work with you on this, but that's why we want you guys to get this down, is because it's going to make your life so much simpler. And to be honest with you, you're not alone, Lieutenant. Sandy's been here forever. I see her entering her meals in day by day. Like, so like, that's why I really wanted to do this, is tell you guys, like, you want to do this as a whole. You're going to save yourself so much time and make your life so much easier. And you won't struggle with that remembering thing. The only thing you got to do is remember to open your phone up and be like, oh man, I'm making these changes. And then you know that the changes that you're making are correct. Or and the other nice thing about it is if you're traveling, everything's in MyFitnessPal. You don't have to worry about it. Cool?
You got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. And do I have any comments? Laura's got to go. Tammy's got to go. Anything else you want to add? Jennifer Dittman?
No, I think that was it. That was really good training there.
Yeah. I think, guys, we're going to continue to do this because we really want to make sure that you guys learn these habits. And it's super important that you guys get really good at it. It's the one thing that we notice. And nutrition across the board is like, people say it's 80% of the game. I'm going to tell you it's 90% of the game. Like it's the end all or do all. And so we got to get you solid on the nutrition. And even with us doing, like, you guys aren't all in the 16-week challenge, but even what we've been noticing in this 16-week challenge where, you know, we're just kind of having fun with this thing, where people are falling short is the nutrition. And it's the biggest thing. So that's actually, you could say, thanks to all your 16-week challenge, your friends for helping you out. Because that's where we've been actually like being able to use this as almost an assessment. It's actually been kind of helpful to us in like a case study, and seeing where, you know, people are falling short, and it's the nutrition. And so it's not that hard, but we do tend to make things harder than they really are. And hopefully this will simplify things and help you guys. Lieutenant, have you been able to get set up with Jen on a call? I know we've all been playing phone tag. Okay, good. Woo-hoo.
We had it last night, actually. So yes, it was really good.
Yay, yay. I'm happy to hear that.